Hi YouTube, this is Darkon633, back with another Transformers review. Today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Tower of the Primes Deluxe Class Autobot Moonracer. Now this is actually another female Transformer that's actually released in the Generations line, and I'm really impressed that we're actually getting a bunch of these females in the line, since none of these characters, even including RC, were not released in the original G1 line. So it's really nice to see a bunch of these female Transformers actually make it into the new updated line. Anyways, we'll now go on to presentation and contents. As usual, we're going to start by looking at the card. We have a picture of Moonracer in her robot mode. It has very nice artwork of the character there. It has a picture of the vehicle mode in her toy form there. Transfers in 14 steps, has a little bio on the back as normal, and promotes more Prime Masters. So that covers the box itself. So now we're going to take a look at the contents. Outside of the card, we got the character card, which has a picture of Moonracer, similar to what we've seen on the box there. And my version was Megatronus Moonracer, which has a very interesting bio to it. And the only other accessory that the figure includes is the gun and the hand-foot gun, which we're going to take a look at in a few. So that pretty much covers the main contents of the box. Obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot going for this particular character, and I really didn't expect more out for Moonracer, so I give this a 5 out of 5. And now we're going to move on to features, which means transformation and articulation. So first we're going to take a look at one of the main features for this entire line, and that's the little power-up armor gimmick, where you actually can put on a Power Master, for those who don't know. And it, once again, just does not look very good on the figure, and it's just something I don't really care too much for, but I guess it is an option for those who actually want to have a little bit more play value with their figures. So it looks something like that. It doesn't like to stay on very well, but it is something you can do. In terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so you're going to have a little bit of restriction, but not a whole lot, because it does bump against the little side pieces around her collar or neck. However, she does have some pretty decent movement up, and some okay movement down as well. She does have ball joints on the shoulders, so that's pretty good. She has ball joints in the elbows. No other joints except for the transformation joint for the wrist. She has technically two waist joints, because basically what it is that the top piece, which forms the back kibble there, has its own joint, and the standard joint from the hips. She has ball joints on the hips there, swivels at the thighs, single, just about 90-degree joints on the knees, and she actually has ankle tilts. While it can't really go forward and back outside of the transformation scheme, she does have the ankle tilt, so she has some pretty okay articulation. However, I have to admit, sadly, the kibble really kind of falters on this figure. Because of the way that the panels work and how the back piece is, it does cause her to be a little bit imbalanced, and it causes her to be back heavy, unfortunately, but it's really not the worst I've seen. In terms of transformation, what we're going to do is take this piece and turn that around. Make sure that it faces this direction. Then we're going to take this bottom part here and make sure that this faces this direction. From here, we're going to peg the feet together, and it will slide inside like that. We're going to take this piece here and make sure that the waist is aligned properly, or else it's going to have a hard time going through and connecting, and it looks something like that. Next, we're going to do is, I actually forgot something. What we're going to do first, actually, is make sure that we have enough clearance, since we're actually going to move this entire joint right here, and to do that, we need to make sure that it looks like that. Then put away the head first, which is the part that I actually forgot, and then we'll be able to finish the transformation there. So it looks like this. Next, we're going to take this entire unit once again and turn around to make sure that these face in the down position, since these will form the panels that will... Sorry, I take that back. It actually is this direction. These will form like that. And then, from here, we're going to take the arms, turn them around, and put the hands in that position. From there, we're going to close up the sides so that we form Moonracer's vehicle mode, as long as you have things pegged in properly on both sides to finish off the transformation. Now we have Moonracer in her Cybertronian car mode. This is actually a very interesting design, and it's definitely unique, and it's not something obviously of this world, but it does have a lot more of a lanky design, and I actually find that kind of interesting since a lot of these other Transformers have a little bit more of a bulkier car mode. So this actually looks pretty interesting and very unique for that sense, as I mentioned. You actually can take the Prime Master chest compartment unit and plug it up here if you wish to, since there is an actual area where you can actually peg in the piece up here. So it looks something like that if you wish to, and I guess you can turn this around so that it becomes like a kind of like a trunk there. You can also take the gun if you wish to and place it into that same port, or you could take the gun and place it on any of the sides here. In terms of functionality in this mode, it does roll okay. It does maintain the plastic wheels, and as long as it actually lays flat, since you can spin this around quite a bit, it may not work as well for you, but that pretty much covers how she looks like in her vehicle mode. So in terms of overall design, I actually give this a 5 out of 5 since the transformation is actually pretty cool, and she does turn into a pretty unique vehicle mode. So in terms of overall value, it's pretty much exactly the same with the other Transformers in the scale. The deluxe scale is about the $16 to $17 price, and it's worth what you're getting with this design. I think the transformation is still pretty cool for what it does, and I definitely think it's worth it, so I actually give the value for this particular product a 5 out of 5. Now looking at all three of the fembots together, this is where it's a little bit interesting. It's actually quite surprising to see Moonracer actually being taller than the other two releases, especially since the deluxe scale figures have been kind of scaled down in the last couple of years and they've just been getting kind of shorter and shorter. So it's actually quite interesting to see that Moonracer is actually taller than the other two main deluxe fembots so far. So that pretty much covers how they look like in their robot modes, but now we're going to take a look at them in their vehicle modes. And here we have the three main fembots in their vehicle modes. Now, this is actually really nice, and especially since all three of them have different alt modes, it really gives them a lot more character, so even though the robot modes are obviously different in the same way that the vehicle modes are, it's really nice to just see any amount of female bots in the Generation line to begin with, since these are characters outside of RC I did not expect to see any updates to. In conclusion, I'm actually quite content to what they did for Moonracer. While she isn't a perfect figure by any means, since she does have a lot of the kibble problems and it causes some instability, the overall design is very nice, and I think Casper did a fantastic job taking the character, which didn't get a main Generations release prior, into the new line, and it's actually something that's really awesome to see that a lot of the fembots that had no toys based on their G1 counterparts are finally getting made into the main line. I can't wait to actually get Alita, although I heard she has a lot of problems, but it is nice to actually get a hold of the main female bots finally after all these years. Anyways, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hero Taku. Also check my Twitter, Darkon633, and don't forget to check down the other channels down below. Please check the little bell at the bottom of the screen in order to see my content go up as soon as possible, and please also check me on Instagram under Darkon633 as well. I got Chromia from my local Target, which I'm finally was able to find after all these months since my area finally decided to get a hold with the recent wave of the deluxe Transformers. So, now that it started trickling to stores, it's probably best to check around from this point on. Anyways, I'll be back with more Transformers reviews, but for now, I'll be seeing you later, YouTube. Bye.